Hey guys. Oh, sorry. I never do this, but I swear to God, they have my favorite beer in the green room. So
He brought his beer out.
When in Rome. Sorry.
It's Friday and we're with Superman, so why not have a beer?
Go.
I'm gonna have one after this. I was a little nervous, so maybe I needed a beer. Guys, I'm in my Superman colors, if you haven't noticed. I'm so pumped that you're here. We're so excited for Superman to be on Supergirl.
Yeah.
Tell me about landing this role and what it's meant for you, because I'm sure growing up as a kid, you always wanted to play a superhero.
Yeah. I mean, I think every kid kind of has that fantasy and that idea. It's been a lot of fun. I think honestly, one of the coolest things in the whole experience was we were shooting one day out in like a public location, and I had the suit on, and one of our PAs went over and got these 4 little kids that were kind of waiting and watching, and brought them over. It's like 2 little boys, 2 little girls, like 7, 8 years old, and I'm talking to them, and kind of like this weird realization that to them right now, like I'm Superman. Like they don't know my name, they don't know who I am, they don't care, and so, which is great because it was just like for a minute I kind of got to be this symbol to these little kids, and not only was it great to like make their day and make them smile and stuff, but it was also like selfishly it was like informative for the character that like that's who this guy is. Like he's this guy that kids are supposed to look at and be like, oh my God, like I can do anything, I can be anything, and good can triumph over evil. So that was kind of like a cool moment. So that's kind of what it's meant to me to do it. It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. And what was it like to slip into that costume the first time? How did it feel? Was it tight?
Slipping in is that's not the correct way to phrase it. It's definitely not that easy. But it's kind of like a really, really nice fancy wetsuit. So I did a little surfer trick and started putting it on with like plastic bags around your feet, and I started to really admire Superman's ability to switch that quickly. I think that's actually like his greatest superpower. But yeah, it's a weird, surreal feeling, and you're wearing a suit that all of a sudden like you've seen your entire life, and you feel like you're wearing the nicest Halloween costume you've ever had. So it's a very, very surreal kind of moment.
And were you a fan of Supergirl before? And how did you come about to find this role? Was it an audition where you reached out to?
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan of Melissa's. I worked with her husband on a film, and so she's just the sweetest, and I think she's done such a great job on the show, and the rest of the cast as well. But it was the weirdest thing. It wasn't an audition. Don't know why. This was one of those like fortunate times where it was just a meeting with Greg Berlanti and Andrew Kreisberg, the producers and creators, and we just I really was there not under the pretense that it was for Superman. It was just for a role that was coming up on Supergirl, and we sat down and they kind of brought up Superman and asked if that was something I'd be interested in talking about, and I said, sure, of course, let's talk about it. And we had a great chat kind of about what we all personally found interesting about the character and fascinating, and different conflicts and things like that. We just kind of hit it off. So that was on a Monday, and on Friday we got the call for the offer, and that was it. So
you didn't even know you were going in to play Superman.
No, had no
pretty
idea.
awesome.
Probably better that way, I think.
So were you so nervous when you were told that you're going to be playing Superman? Because so many actors have played him in the past. Yeah. And what did you kind of want to bring to it that would make it your own?
In a way that like I really hope does not come off cocky or arrogant. I really don't know why, but for some reason, doing this, I told my agents, I told my family, like getting ready to go and shoot it, I've never felt more calm going into a job. I think just because the meeting we had was such a great meeting, and I had such a strong sense of what I personally found interesting about this character, and knowing that Greg and Andrew had confidence in that idea, I just wanted to go in and do what we wanted. It was kind of something just like we had a target and a place to aim for, and that's what we went for. So as far as making it our own, I just kind of I stayed away from the other Superman things. I didn't go back and look at anything. I didn't want to have that thought in my mind of, oh, that's too similar to what so and so did, or that's not close enough. Like I just wanted to do it the way that the scripts came in, look at the scripts, find how he fits into this world, because they've done such a great job of establishing the tone of the show in the first season. We just kind of found like where he fit, so we wanted him to blend in really easily.
Yeah. So tell us, of course you're going to be in the first episode of season 2, and I'm sure you guys are so excited to see. I was fortunate enough to see it, and I think it's seamless, it's perfect.
Thank you.
But let's set the stage for everybody. kind of talk about Clark Kent coming back into this Supergirl world and where it all begins.
Yeah, Clark makes a pretty early appearance. Clark is kind of the fun thing about this was finding where Clark kind of fits into this whole thing, because Superman is such an iconic symbol and person that you have ways to vary how you portray him, but at the end of the day, it's still Superman. So you kind of have to hold true to some of the traditional values and things that make him who he is. Clark, there's a little bit more freedom to play with because he's more of like the human side of it. He's the guy who goes to work every day and has to deal with a boss who may be kind of breathing down his neck, or relationship that might not be working out so well, whether it's a friend or a relationship with Lois, whatever it might be. Like those are the things that you kind of get a little bit more flexibility with. So it was really fun to kind of find his personality, his sense of humor, and figure out how he responds to everyday life situations. So that was a really fun thing, and I think just kind of exploring that with the relationship with Kara, it was a great chance to kind of play with those things.
And you sort of talked about knowing Melissa a little bit before the show, and of course on the show you play cousins.
Yeah.
So was it kind of automatic family vibe, or did you guys have to work at it a little bit?
No, not really. Melissa's great. She's like the sweetest person you'll ever meet. Like she is like Supergirl, like the symbol that she is to like everybody in the show. Like she's just the sweetest person in the world, and she works so hard. And she's a fantastic actress. So we had a blast, but we always joked because there were times on set where one of us would ask someone a question and we go to turn around and bump into the other one, and we just said, like, honest to God, if you just would roll the cameras when we're on set together, you'd probably get just as much like Clark and Kara stuff as you would when we're shooting, because we both tend to be a little bit, I think a little bit more like clumsy and nerdy like those two, other than the alter egos.
I love it.
Yeah.
And were you nervous at all to kind of step into Melissa's world a little bit, this being Supergirl? Were you cognizant of the fact that Superman was coming into this world and you didn't kind of want to overplay it too much?
Yes and no. I think it's kind of one of those things where, again, it was almost informative for the character that, it's not an origin story for him. He's, at this point, he's been around for a while. He's been doing it for a long time. And so coming into this, he's really there to support her. And so at the end of the day, that lends itself to a supporting role. So it's very much, it's about Supergirl. It's her show, it's her story. So it's really just a chance for him to be there and interact with her and to kind of let you, even further into her world and know what family means to her and see how they interact. So, and Melissa, the entire cast, the crew were so great and welcoming that they made me feel really comfortable right away. And it really was. It was a very, very painless, very fun process.
What were the stunts like? Did you get to do some cool stuff for this premiere episode?
Yeah, we could do a little fighting, little flying. Flying was the new one. I've done stunts before, but the flying thing that was a first.
Good flyer?
I think I was passable. I think it was okay. I think I will let the public be the judge of that, but I felt pretty good about it. Yeah.
What's it like to shoot that stuff on set and then to kind of go back and watch it after, they put effects in and everything like that? Because it's probably such a different experience to actually shoot it than it is for us to get that whole dynamic and vibe.
Yes. I'm so excited. This is the first time I get to tell this story. So there is nothing sadder than wearing a Superman outfit, being in the middle of a scene and having to exit the scene by flying away. But the scene continues after you fly away, because the only thing you can do is jump up in the air and land immediately, and then run off of set with your cape trailing behind you while they all pause and wait for you to get off camera so that they can continue the scene. So the first time I had to do that, I remember running off and getting to the side and just being like, that had to look so stupid. That was one of the funniest. And then Melissa had to do the exact same thing, and she's hilarious. And so of course she jumps up, lands, and then does a run waddle off camera like this, so they can finish the scene at the end of it. And it's such an interesting thing because you watch that and you go, this looks ridiculous. This looks so stupid. And then you go back and you see it, what they do with it, with the effects and with the music and everything. And it's, you're running down the street and all of a sudden you're flying 50 stories in the air. So it's really impressive what they do, and I think they do a great job with the effects. So it is fun to see that happen because you know how you feel when you shoot it, which is really ridiculous. And then they end up making it look amazing. So yeah, it's cool to see that.
I can only imagine being attached to all that gear and being floated in the.
Yeah.
It can't be that comfortable, can it?
It's not the coziest place to be, but at the end of the day, like you do kind of sit there and go, I'm flying around in a Superman outfit. Like life isn't that bad. It's pretty good. So yeah, it's all about perspective.
And this episode has a ton of action in it. You know, they throw us right back into this world, guys. It's pretty unbelievable. But we get a little nod or a mention of Lex Luthor, although he's not in it. Can you kind of give everyone a little sneak peek of what they can expect on Monday, villain-wise, and what's going on there?
This is my first request for a sneak peek on this show, so I'm still getting used to what I can and can't say on this one. I think you can kind of expect to see, you know, where things left off in the first season, and getting even bigger and better. I think they've been really excited about what we've been able to do over at the CW now, the show moving over, and you know, being in Vancouver and shooting where they have all those other shows that they do in this universe. So it's been really fun to see what they've done so far. But I think you can look forward to, you know, a new team assembling, and you know, the good parts of that and the conflict that comes with that as well. There's some relationships that are very good and some that aren't quite as great. So it'll be fun to see how this new dynamic plays out.
And how long can we expect Superman to stick around on Supergirl, if you have any idea?
Well, I know he's in the first one. No, he's in the first one, and I believe I'm not spoiling anything by saying he sticks around for a little bit longer than that. But you know, throughout the season, who knows? You know, that's up to the writers and the producers and the studios and all those people. So you know, when they call, we'll talk again. But for right now, we'll see where it lies. Hopefully you guys enjoy the first couple.
And you know, Superman has a thing with kryptonite. So I wanted to ask you, what is your personal kryptonite, if you have anything?
Oh God. Like what kills me, or like what will be the death of me?
What's a weakness?
A weakness? I'm gonna say pizza. Pizza's a weakness. Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't really see a weakness over
hard.
here, guys, but
No, that one will kill me. If someone says I can't have pizza, it's like that's like the one you can take away that I get really, really sad about. But yeah, I don't know. I think I think that's the
do you have
one.
like a strict workout for Superman, or were you kind of already?
I had to get back in the gym again. That was one of those things. Like it's Superman, so like no matter what kind of shape you're in, you kind of feel like if I don't put more work into this, I'm failing. So yeah, it was kind of one of those put on as much weight as you can, as quick as you can. So back in the gym, eating a lot, that was actually the great part of it. I enjoyed that part immensely. A lot of pizza, a lot of Chinese food. It was amazing. But yeah, so I think, you know, that's kind of one of those roles where no matter what, you kind of have to push it as far as you can, and then just at the end of the day, you are where you are.
And you were telling me backstage that you ran into somebody at the gym who was a pretty big guy himself.
Yeah. I was up in Vancouver and we were shooting, and there's a hotel that people tend to stay at when they're shooting up there, and this guy working out next to me. He looked kind of familiar. There's like 3 or 4 people around him. I was like, that's really odd. Usually you only need like one spotter or something. And so all of a sudden he comes over and he sits on the thing like right next to me, and there's a mirror there, and I'm not trying to see who it is, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's why. Yeah. Okay. And the worst part about this was I was doing an exercise called an Arnold press that's named after him. So I was like really concentrating on my form because it was like the one time I did not want to be doing a bad Arnold press in front of Arnold. So yeah, there's a lot of focus going on in those few minutes.
Did you get to meet him at all or talk to him?
No, he was in his zone. He was doing his thing. So we just kind of like, that's kind of cool. Like, yeah, someone asked me if the gym was good there, and I was like, well, it's good enough for Schwarzenegger, so I have to say yes. Yeah,
Good enough for me.
It's good enough for him. It's good enough for me.
So you're kind of, in a way, you know, with the CW, it used to be considered the WB, and you, of course, were on a show called Seventh Heaven back in the day.
Yeah. Hey, all right.
Is it weird for you to sort of picture Martin, and now you're Superman?
Yeah. It's interesting, but it's funny to kind of circle back, and I think the WB was actually switching over to CW like right as we were ending on that. So yeah, it's kind of one of those weird like full circle moments.
Do you have any fond memories from the set of Seventh Heaven? I'm sure. And
None.
was it
None.
weird?
No, not at all.
Let's share some, shall we? What a
Yeah.
cast! That must have been fun though. But those
Yeah.
kind of shows, they come and go. You had the Seventh Heaven and the One Tree
Yeah.
Hill. The Gilmore Girls is coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that I've been extremely lucky in my life and my career to have been on some really great sets and situations where you're there for a long time, and I know people that aren't as lucky and are stuck on sets where not everyone gets along the greatest, and that's not a fun place to work. But every place that I've worked for an extended period of time, and really even the short ones, I've had a great time and worked with really great people. People that I still stay in touch with and are part of my life, and that's special because in this business, a lot of times you kind of you become a family really quickly, and then you kind of all go your separate ways, and that's kind of it. So yeah, I mean, I was going through high school at that time, so I was making friends. I was driving for the first time. I was going to set by myself for the first time, like feeling like an adult, and everyone treated me like an adult, and so it was like that first experience. So I had a tremendous time growing up on that set.
Was everyone at your school kind of like, oh my God, you're on Seventh Heaven? I wonder what that's like to be a child actor.
No, not everyone. No, some people were like that. No, but majority of the people that I hung out with were my baseball teammates, and their Tuesday afternoon practice ritual was watching Seventh Heaven Monday night to know what to make fun of me for the entire hour leading up to the game on Tuesday. So yeah, every Tuesday I was always like, oh God, all right, well.
Yeah, you could just turn to them and be like, I'm on set with Jessica Biel, so.
I did have that one over them, yes. But no, I mean, those are your true friends. Those are the ones that still text me, like even when I get the Superman thing and be like, you're never gonna pull it off. It's like those are the ones that stick around for a while.
Did you always know you wanted to be an actor then? Were you into theater and stuff in high school?
I was never in theater in high school. I started when I was 8 years old, so it's been over 20 years now, which is crazy. But I think I kind of just randomly fell into it, and then I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing it. I booked a couple little jobs, and then when I was 13, I booked a film called Road to Perdition, and that was the first experience where I went, okay, this is definitely something that I'm not just doing for now. It's something I'm going to want to do for the rest of my life eventually. Baseball was still my first passion all the way through college, and so that's where my focus was. But yeah, I think after that shoot, I knew that it was going to be something eventually I would pursue full time.
Yeah, Road to Perdition. I mean, that's Tom Hanks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Man, what a good movie. That's a good movie to start on.
It was not a bad place to start. Some very good role models, very good examples. Paul Newman, Jude Law, Daniel Craig. And it just, it was a great learning experience for me. I always say if I could go back and do one experience in my life again, I would love to do that, knowing what I know now, just because, the things I'm sure I would have picked up on and paid attention to that probably flew over my head at 13. I would love that experience again, but still invaluable. And I just, I'm always grateful for that. I think those guys, just as much as I learned from about acting from them, I think just how to conduct yourself, how to be as a person in this environment and what you do. I mean, they were the greatest guys. And everyone who says, Tom Hanks is the nicest guy, he's the nicest guy. You would never know he does what he does, or he is who he is, or however you want to phrase that. But yeah, just genuinely great people.
Did you call up Daniel Craig to get some, he's Bond, you get some advice on playing Superman from James Bond?
Yeah, no, I would love to talk to Daniel about that. I think I was so glad when he got that job, and I know like when he first got it, there was a lot of backlash and stuff, and I was so happy when the first one came out and everybody kind of quieted down about it because he's a phenomenal.
Now everyone's
phenomenal
sad that
actor.
he's gonna leave. They're like,
I know,
replace
and
him?
everybody wants to keep him. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully he sticks around for a little bit longer.
And you're saying you were a baseball player.
Yeah.
You played baseball in Seventh Heaven, right? And then you were in Everybody Wants Some, which I'm sure, did you guys see this year? That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
With Blake Jenner, who you mentioned is
Yep.
Melissa's husband. Another little connection there.
Yep.
Is it cool to play baseball on screen since you're so good at it?
Yeah, it is fun. I kind of get to like do my two passions at the same time. The Seventh Heaven thing, it was so funny because it was like that was not originally part of the character. It just kind of, I think they knew that's what I was doing in my life, and so it kind of like made its way into the show, which was really random. And so that was just kind of an afterthought. But But yeah, Everybody Wants Some was such an incredible experience. I think just because I got to go back to a place that I knew so well, and kind of live through that again. And it really was, in a weird way, teams, you get very close. This was such a close team because everybody was so into it, so committed. And it wasn't just, the athletic side of it, because you are playing a baseball team, but being in a creative environment as well. You have conversations and you talk about things and you kind of get to know each other really quickly and really well. So it became probably like the closest team I've ever played on, even though it was in a movie, just because we were, sharing, and not only, hey, you might take my job tomorrow and I got to outplay that guy. It's like we're all trying to elevate each other to make this movie as good as we possibly can. So it was a really unique experience, and I mean, just the greatest time I've had shooting. It was so much fun.
Don't tell your high school team that you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm playing them in fantasy football this weekend. We have a bad relationship right now anyway.
I love it. High school buddies. Before I toss it off to the audience, though, you talked about going back to something. There's a lot of chatter about Teen Wolf coming to an end, and if you'll make an appearance in this series finale at all, the finale season, can you say anything about that? And would you like to go back?
I always say with TV, anything could happen, and you never know. So we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing that show started. And we shot the pilot in 2009, and so they're gonna hit 100 episodes this year, which is crazy. Because I remember saying like season 1 that I thought we could go 6 seasons, and we were only doing 12 episodes at the time. So it would have been 72, and they're making it to 100. So it's pretty incredible.
Lasted a while.
Yeah.
I mean, you played a wolf, you're playing Superman, you're doing pretty well for yourself, I think.
Trying out the different elevated genres, yeah.
All right, let's pass it off to the audience for some
right.
questions.
Hey. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Okay, before I ask my question, Wolfpack forever. But yeah, so if you could choose, besides Superman, obviously, but if you could choose to live the life of any role that you have played, which one would it be? But it can't be Superman.
Ooh, live the life of any role that I've played. I would say, oh, no, I mean, I don't even know why I'm thinking about it. I would love to be McReynolds in Everybody Wants Some. Like, it's baseball. He's a first-round prospect. It's 1980. The shorts are very short. The mustaches are outrageous. And which, by the way, that mustache is a part of my passport photo. I had to renew it while we were shooting, so every time I come back into the States now, they look at me a little bit longer than they used to.
Say you live in Brooklyn.
Yeah, totally. No, actually, thank God, it's in November, so I always say, I'm so sorry they caught me in November, and I get the November kind of forgiveness.
Grow a beard, just a mess.
So, but yeah, I think that would have just been fun, and honestly, shooting that, we all got away from our cell phones. We couldn't have them on set because you all had very tight and short shorts usually, so you had nowhere to hide it. And I just, I really enjoyed that. I loved, I try to do that in my life. If I'm at dinner, I never touch my phone. I try to just be kind of where I'm at. And so to live in that environment for a little while was really fun. Like you go to a nightclub and everybody's dancing. No one's, texting like, hey, is it better over there? Like just have a good time where you're at. Just have fun. So I loved that. So if I could live in that world a little bit, I think I would have enjoyed it.
I want to go back to the 80s. I mean, I was born in 88, so it's like, when were you born?
87.
Yeah, we're right around the same time.
Yeah, we got the end of it.
I'll just pretend I lived through the 80s. Who's next?
So, obviously, you're one of the few characters that exist at the same time in the Berlanti-verse and the Zack Snyder-verse. And obviously, there's been debates between Grant Gustin's portrayal of the Flash and Ezra Miller's portrayal of the Flash. And after the episodes airs, people seem to prefer the TV versions of the character because they seem more true and lighthearted. So when obviously these comparisons happen come Monday, do you think because people may like your character more than Henry Cavill's, how will you process? Will you enjoy that or these endless debates that will happen?
I'm really indifferent about it. I personally just hope people do enjoy this version of it. I would never compare the characters, especially when you play the same character, because you have to consider so many things: the tone of the project, the surrounding characters, the story you're telling, the director's vision for it. So that's really not a concern. I just, personally, I just do hope people enjoy what we've done. Naturally, comparisons will happen, but it's one of those things that I've kind of gotten over that. Where when I when I was a younger actor, when I was still playing baseball, I'm a very competitive person. That's the one thing Mick Reynolds and I have very much in common from that movie. And so, you know, coming into acting, so much of the way I would look at things was still as a competition. In the last few years, that has completely changed in the way that I look at things. I no longer look at a job and, you know, get upset if someone else gets it over me. I mean, I may be disappointed that I don't get the chance to play that character because I really wanted to. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not about who's better necessarily. Sometimes it is, obviously, but a lot of times it just has to do with who's right for that character. So comparing things and feeling like, oh, that one's better than that one, that's not really... That's a competitive way of kind of looking at it, and now I just look at it as like that's the story they're telling, and that's their artistic approach to it, and we have ours, and so I just hope that people enjoy it for what it is, and that's kind of like the only focus. So we'll see.
We're going to take our final question from an online viewer.
Okay.
So Katrina would like to know what aspect of joining Supergirl has been the most unexpected.
The most unexpected. The amount of singing and dancing that goes on set.
I mean, Melissa did come from Glee, so I can.
Yes. Everybody there is very musically gifted. They like to move around to stay awake in the later hours of the day. So yeah, there's some song and dance going on set, and you know, it keeps it fun, it keeps it light, and kind of, you know, keeps everybody's mood up. So that's been a lot of fun.
Are you a singer and dancer yourself?
God, no. I dance a little. I can dance a little bit, but I would never take myself seriously as either one. So until the project comes along where I have to really focus, we'll see.
Well, guys, if you're listening, casting agents, this guy wants to dance. He wants to dance. Well, we can't wait to see you on Monday on Supergirl. I hope you stick around for a little while because you're a great Superman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, guys.